Okay, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Shum, Yahushai by Shum Rakakadash. I want to give double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well the sound doctrine. And peace and blessings to the elect. Now, I believe I seen an article that was basically centered around the quote-unquote JWOs. Trying to already paint us as the bad guys, some supremacist people and all types of things, when all brothers and elders is doing is reading what's in the scriptures. But like Galatians 4:16 says, "Am I your enemy?" Before because I tell you the truth, roughly paraphrasing. Because it's really, the word is really cutting them, because we know the scripture says this word sharper than any two-edged sword. It's the word that's really cutting them, and just because this guy is so crafty, what does he do? He paints us all as the villains. He paints us the bad guys, and what we're doing is wicked, and what he's doing is righteous. When it's completely the opposite way around. All you have to do is look at this guy's kingdom. What are some of the things he's promoting? Pedophilia. What else? Adultery. What else? Just different, violence. Different things that get upheld in this society. But, here you have it. We bring out the scriptures and it's brought down. But anyway, where I'm out to. Okay, Revelation 12:17. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of Yahweh and of the testimony of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. And that dragon is representing Esau. And that's really referencing when they're really going to come down with that great wrath afterwards, because there's going to come a time where it's going to be like, you're gonna upset them so much, because it's like every plan that they're coming out with, we're trying to get done, we're bringing it out. So it's almost like, all right, they're almost gonna be like, oh, we gotta go about this a different way, and then they're gonna eventually go into like, okay, we just have to pay these guys in a villainous light like we've already been doing, and just find a way to get them out of here, because they're being a real nuisance. So, how are they going to do that? Well, Revelation 12:12, the devil comes down with great wrath, because he knows that he has us for a short time. So, that great wrath that he's going to come down with also ties into Isaiah 59 and 19. When the enemy they're going to come in like a great flood, and that's representing their military enforcement, their troops that they're ultimately going to use to basically try and I don't know what the word is. Brothers will know what I'm talking about. I don't know if it's right to say right on brothers, but you know what I'm talking about. They're going to try and come upon us. But the Lord is just like the Lord said. Let me get that. I believe it's in Matthew. Can't remember how it goes. How does it go again? What? You give no thought. I believe it's in Matthew, the 10th chapter. I'm not sure, so I'm gonna take. Okay, so I can get Matthew. Matthew is 10 and 19. But when they deliver you up, like, for example, delivering us up in their courthouses, and then building up a case against us, and then trying to say, oh, we've done X, Y, and Z. The Lord's telling us not to worry about that, because in the moment that something like that happens, He's gonna put it, he's gonna put it in our mouths of what we should say. Just like you had Simon Peter, if I'm not mistaken. You know, it happened in a similar way where he didn't want to deny the Lord, but ultimately the Lord had it happen. But this time around, the Lord's gonna have it to where we stand firm. Because the scripture says, and I believe in Amos or Romans, let me get. Oh yeah, here it is. Romans 11:4. Romans 11:4. And what saith the answer of Yahweh unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal. And that's based on a modern day reference for that would be, he's reserved an X amount of men who are not going to take the Charagma. Because the Charagma is coming, and a lot of people are going to fold because it's easier said than done. Because of course you gotta get yourself in the mind frame of not to take it. But people are gonna be like, they're gonna start thinking carnally, thinking, oh, if I don't take it, I'm not gonna be able to eat. My family's not gonna eat, so you could die. Or I'm not gonna receive payments from work. Even if they don't get kicked through without their job by then, or I can't work without this, I'm not gonna be able to pay my bills without this. Well, why are you worried about all that? The Charagma coming means that this whole society is going down anyway. So you should be worried about something like that. And what was I thinking of? Like people, like the average Jake isn't gonna be thinking like that. Just like what happened to Job. Job was a man of the Lord. The average Jake in that situation would have probably folded at the first hurdle. Because you know what Jake's like, man. They would have folded at the first hurdle. They'll be like, oh, even though the Lord had been looking out for them all that time, they would have been quick to try and dash cold water in the face of the Lord. But of course, Job was an upright man. And let me see where I'm up to. I ended up losing my trail of thought. Salakia. I lost my trail of thought. Yeah, that's why we're supposed to, because just like things, like even the punishments everything we're going through is temporary. Everything that it can possibly do to us is only temporary. That's why it's going to be like, especially when we look back on those things and laugh, it's going to be very funny because it's going to be like, you people were really dumb enough to believe, the lies that this guy was telling you when his mouth can't form the truth over the Lord, the person, who chose you from the foundation, who chose your nation. Maybe you weren't a part of the elect, but, we pray for you. I was speaking about, those, of course, who took it, but maybe you weren't a part of the elect, but the Lord, He gave you numerous chances, and He kind of bites, would bite them at the same time, because ultimately, the Lord didn't choose you. Romans 11:7, what then Israel have not obtained that which he seeketh, but the election had obtained it and the rest were blinded. And that's because the elect, the Lord has a covering over them. No matter, like, of course, different people, different brothers, we have different levels of faith. Lord will make you go through things as a trial of your faith, but you'll never be given more than you can manage. The Lord will always get you through it. I even think of the priest. I lost the trail of my. It's like I lost my trail of thought before I was trying to get another precept to go along with it. But it's like just bear with me 1 minute. It's the it's like I can't even remember, but anyway, the point still stands. Like just like in the time of Jacob's trouble, because because the Karagma, they could come in the time of Jacob's trouble, and they're gonna run and go take that, and then when they go through their hardships in that time, when they go through their hardships in that time after taking the Karagma, because they didn't want to have faith, they didn't want to stand firm, they didn't want to listen. They're still going to be praying unto the Lord. They're going to be calling on different names, and they may even call upon the name Yehovah Hashem Yahushai, because they may have see brothers calling upon the name and getting delivered. But guess what? That's not going to be them, because you trusted Esau so much. So let Esau help you. Let Esau help you. You didn't want to believe. You didn't want to trust in the Lord. So, why do you expect the Lord has to deliver you? The Lord don't have to deliver you, man. I was going to cross a bridge, but I ain't sure what's on the other side of it. Looks like it's on much more higher ground. But anyway, that's beside the point. The point. Oh, select just going around. But yeah, that faith is going to be something that's that's going to get us through with everything that we're going through. Because when they keep doing that case against us, we're going to be like, hey, you can pretty much do what you want. Do everything you have in mind, because the more fury you think you can lay down is the closer we get to our kingdom. The closer we get to our kingdom is the closer your kingdom is to being obliterated. So it's a lose-lose situation for you. And what did the Lord say? He said, touch not my anointed, neither do my prophets no harm. So if you try to lift up a finger against, if you lift up a finger against us, what do you think the Lord's gonna do to you? Listen, what do you think the Lord's gonna do to you? You wish you had a 1v1 with Leviathan, because instead of the Lord's ways are not our ways. He is so above us. He can imagine so many different things of how to just plague you, just ruin you. Just ruin you. And just like, really, time, is something that you should look at when it comes to stuff like this. Because these people, in plantation Christianity, they'll be like, what do you call it? What's the name? They'll be like, oh, man, I got this, man, I got that. When the quote unquote preacher prophesies onto them smooth things about how things are gonna get better, how they're gonna have abundance, how they're gonna have this and they're gonna have that, but he doesn't get to the heart. You don't get to the hardships. You don't get to preaching the truth. You don't get to tell the truth unto them. Because why? Because he basically wants to attract the members. He wants to keep the members happy. It's not about keeping them happy. You gotta tell them what they need to hear. But of course, Jake, Jake would rather hear things like, if you throw this amount of tithes, you'll receive a blessing. You will receive a blessing of financial abundance next year, instead of you have to get right with. Instead of, hey, you have to get right with the Lord, because the time of Jacob's trouble is fastly approaching. And you don't want to be caught off guard. You want the Lord to basically deliver you in that point. because if the Lord is not with you, then in layman's terms, you're going to be jaguar meat.
Because you always have to go down.
And in Matthews 5 and 11, where am I? Not John. I said Matthews, you fool. Salakia. My phone was jumping, That's not me though anyway. My phone was jumping. I was like, But anyway, Matthew 5 and 11, blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely, for my name's sake. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven. Why? Because if you're in a wicked society, then of course, and you're preaching righteousness, then of course people are going to hate you, because the things that you're saying are basically going against things that this society uplifts. And the same thing happened to the prophets of old. Prophets of old prophesied against great kingdoms, countries, and nations. And they were a great nuisance, they were considered a nuisance. They weren't liked. I believe it was the prophet Jeremiah that was like, they basically wanted his life. And in this time it's going to be the same thing. They're going to come up with a case against us. They're going to build up a case against us. Whether they use agent provocateurs or, which they will use agent provocateurs, to maybe try and infiltrate or stage something and then blame something and not say, oh, look, he's wearing fringes and these guys wear fringes, which means he must be a part of the same belief system. Oh, they're saying some of the same things, trying to link us, up with someone else in order for us to get put under that same umbrella. And then, basically for them to say, okay, we have to stop this belief system. I wish if it was a man, would have come to naught. But this truth, gives. I don't. Brothers when they first heard this, when they got into this truth, it's like it's a different feeling. You start to feel a bit separate from things. You start to feel a bit separate. What's this guy doing? Slovakia, just dealt with a bad driver. But what was up to? I lost my thought. But the main point is that once they do link us up into that umbrella, they're gonna try and get the people on their side. Which these people don't like what we're saying anyway, because we're saying what they need to hear instead of what they want to hear. Just like I believe it was Micaiah and the prophet Ahab and King Ahab. No, King Ahab didn't like Micaiah because he was like, let me get. I believe it was like, this guy has never come with any good news. That's in 2 Kings, I believe. And this is like, even back in the day, back in the day, even ancient world, and even maybe the time of the Lord, they would have preferred, they wanted to smooth things prophesied onto them. And then it's like a reoccurring pattern. And then when something like serious happens, like what we've been saying, that's when they want to start to come around. I remember the first time the start of the pandemic. You know, yeah, I believe there was this guy listening to the truth. And he was on point with a lot of things. I was basically pointing out, and this guy had like 60K people, 60K following. So when he used to point out, people used to see, and they used to be like, oh, this guy is a superhero. You know, he's predicting all these different things. But here it is. Brothers and elders have been saying this for how long? And we've still been giving hate. But here's what it is. We know these people ain't gonna like us, but we just have to continue pushing the truth. That's pretty much all I got. I don't want to make this any more long-winded. So in closing, I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahushai, Ba'ashim, Rakakadosh. Until next time, Shalom.